Patient Zero happened last year in December in Guinea, I believe. It was a 2-year-old boy. The origin of Ebola, they're trying to say, is either, of course, infected animal corpses or fruit bats. But they leave out the last shell, which could be, of course, a 2-year-old boy getting vaccinations.
I tell you, when they talk about the guy who died, Mr. Duncan in Texas, as being patient zero, obviously we know that there are now maybe 5,000 people in West Africa who have died of this disease, and I may be lowballing that number. We're not getting, and for Obama to send the military over to deal with a public health issue, I really question whether AFRICOM, which was designed to protect U.S. business interests, oil interests, and other interests in Africa, is well placed to deal with this developing pandemic in West Africa. So one thing the military does do when they go into an area, they tend to keep nosy journalists out. They put what's called an information cone over the area where no independent news goes out. That's what I'm very skeptical and suspicious about with Obama's deployment of troops into West Africa.
Okay, thanks for the call. Yeah, so picking up on that, Wayne, I mean, we've seen Chinese economic expansion in Africa outstripping the US. So do you believe that this Ebola outbreak and other so-called crises like that are being used as pretext to send US troops into the region to establish strongholds that will later benefit economically the US military-industrial complex in that region?
It could very well be. We're already in there to fight these groups that are active now in West Africa as a result of the neocons' foolhardy project to get rid of Gaddafi in Libya. That just turned out all this weaponry and these jihadists who are now active in Mali and Burkina Faso and Niger, and with Boko Haram in Nigeria and Ansar Dine in northern Mali. And other countries. So these American troops are supplementing troops that are already in West Africa. Now, the one country that has provided top shelf medical care to West Africa is Cuba. And we know because of this ridiculous quarantine or boycott we've had against Cuba, they've developed this medical system that is far beyond anything we have in the United States that's affordable. And they have dispatched their doctors to West Africa. And so Cuba dispatches top quality doctors and we send the military in. I mean, you just got to wonder who's in charge of things in Washington, D.C. And when, and the people in West Africa know that that they see these Cuban doctors are they're going to start getting the best medical care available. And I don't care what Ileana Ros-Lehtinen and her gang of gusanos in South Florida have to say about it. Those Cubans are needed in West Africa, and we should, if anything, we should be using our military planes to fly more Cuban doctors over there.
Switching topics now, Ukraine, I know this is something you've been focusing on in the past. We've seen a kind of quieting of tensions in recent weeks. We've had a ceasefire, Putin withdrawing troops from eastern Ukraine. Do you see that crisis as ebbing away, or is it going to spark back into life here in the near future?
Well, that crisis is now going from sort of the battlefield to the corporate boardrooms throughout Europe and also the Middle East, because winter is now approaching. And this idea of sanctions on Russia, which affects their ability to ship their natural gas and other energy supplies to Western Europe, is really starting to impact on Western Europe. And we already seen now unemployment rise in Germany as a result of this ill-conceived sanctions against Russia. French farmers are now dumping their produce that they would normally sell to Russia in town squares. And all we get from Francois Hollande, the French president, is more talk about more EU sanctions. Look, that was a coup d'etat in Kiev by a bunch of neo-Nazis and fascists and it was Victoria Nuland at the State Department who promoted that, and now we have a German news report that the Ukrainian army, they wear helmets with swastikas and SS symbols on them. I mean, this is, no wonder Russia doesn't, you do something like that, and Russia remembers what happened in World War II. 25 million Soviet citizens lost their lives as a result of the German Nazi attack on Russia. And to have Ukrainian troops wearing Nazi helmets going in to kill Russian-speaking people in eastern Ukraine, I would have reacted as much as Putin did. And he secured that Russian base in Crimea, where there's a majority Russian population. We would have done the same thing if one of our overseas military bases were put in jeopardy. He took that base without firing a shot. Nobody died. Of course, if we did it, we'd do shock and awe, and we'd kill a lot of civilians. So who's the more civilized person here?
Okay, coming up after the break, your calls for Wayne Madsen, 1-800-259-9231. Stay right there, Infowars.com.
This hour brought to you by InfidelBodyArmor.com. When it hits the fan, don't be left without the body armor that will save your life. With prices starting at just $374.99 and ships free. Get yours at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Just won't quit.
Hi, Ted Anderson with Midas Resources. Is it time to convert paper 401ks and IRAs to solid gold and silver yet? Get our 10 Reasons book free. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Another major health threat, this one in Toledo, Ohio, where everybody in the entire city has been told not to drink the water.
Ohio's governor declaring a state of emergency.
Did you know that the average person uses about 80 to 100 gallons of water at home every single day? If there's a water emergency, will you be prepared?
Panicked residents forming long lines throughout the day.
We're here at a supermarket in Toledo. You can see the shelves empty where water once was.
To stay safe and healthy during a crisis, you must have access to safe, clean water. Water which will not be available at your local grocery store.
There's a mad dash on right now to stock up on supplies.
The ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system is a must-have for every modern, independently minded household. Protect your family's safety during an emergency. Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system, or call 1-888-253-3139.
I'm watching and waiting for the right time to take everything you own. I love a dark house.
Don't be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone is inside watching TV and makes your home unappealing to would-be thieves.
Don't these people ever leave?
Starting at $24.95, and there's free shipping. Go to faketv.com or ask for it at your local hardware store. Fake TV, the burglar deterrent.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. Silverlungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
Back on the Alex Jones Show Live, talking to Wayne Madsen. Going to go to another of your calls here in a minute. But the great line of health products at Infowars.com continues to impress. And now we've got X2, with all the madness going on in the world, you need to get your supply of Ultra Strength Survival Shield X2. This is nascent iodine. And of course, I take iodine back home. It tastes like absolute garbage. This doesn't have that bad taste that's associated with many of the common iodine solutions on the market. It's time to get prepared with Survival Shield X2 from InfoWarsLife.com. Secure yours at InfoWarsLife.com and store it in your preparedness pack or home cabinet. Of course, iodine protects against radiation exposure. It's also got many other health benefits, purifies your system, and the X2 solution is available at InfoWarsLife.com. Final call for Wayne Madsen. It's Julio in Wyoming. Julio, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to both, Wayne. Been a big fan of yours for a while. It's also nice to see my former senator, Mark Kirk, have some nice comments for you, Wayne Madsen. He had some positive things to say about you, so it's nice to see Mark Kirk showing his true colors. I want to ask you, I've spoken to you about this before, about how big blackmail is and how so many of these political actors are, pretty much hold to a noose because of blackmail. And we know our good friend Barry Soetoro and his relationships with Mr. Sinclair or Reggie Love. All of these actors are blackmailed. Can you elaborate on that? And secondly, Vice Media. I know you've written so many articles on your website about Vice, and they have Uncle Rupert's money as well as Uncle George's money, Soros and Murdoch behind it. They covered Ukraine. You talked about the neo-Nazis. It's not surprising Vice Media would support what was happening in Ukraine when Senator McCain openly spoke at the Brookings Institute with Senator Murphy of Connecticut about a technocracy in Ukraine, and we know how technocratic regimes in Greece and Italy have worked thus far. So can you elaborate on those two issues?
Yeah, on Vice, of course, that's also involves Bill Maher, who produces their program on HBO. And I just would caution people about the news reports coming out of North Korea about the status of Kim Jong-un. Don't believe them, because a lot of them are being filtered through Vice. And they were the ones who accompanied Dennis Rodman over there on his trip. Take whatever they say with a grain of salt. We know that Bill Maher is an Islamophobe. We know that. Thank God Ben Affleck called him and that other clown, Sam Harris, out on their Islamophobia on the Maher program. But Vice, not to be believed. That it's more trash journalism on blackmail. Oh yes, absolutely. You mentioned McCain, and what do they got on this guy? I mean, obviously he's blackmailed 3 ways from Sunday. They know he was singing like a canary to his North Vietnamese captors. For 6 months, he was giving operational schedules for U.S. flights, attack flights into North Vietnam. He also was responsible for the terrible fire on the USS Forrestal that killed, over 200 naval personnel. And he was the first guy taken off because they knew he was responsible because of his hotshot antics. They called him Johnny Wet Start because he would flame his engine out as a form of hazing, and he caused that catastrophe. So yeah, they got that on him, and they got a lot of other stuff on McCain. He's just one of many. Mark Kirk. Look, I reported it came out after his marriage went on the rocks, and he was divorced, that he was a well-known homosexual in Illinois.
We'll be back after the break with Wayne Madsen. I'm going to take one more call. Stay tuned. This is Infowars.com. Keep it locked in.
This is GCN, the Genesis Communications Radio Network.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operations.
You let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun and you can feel it.